Hello and welcome to this week's episodes of The Calling. Follow your spirit all the way in. I'm your host, Homaya. Join me in this journey of self-awareness, soul frequencies, and spiritual revelations. Let's fly. Hey beauties, since I've recorded 2 previous episodes about grief and death and separation, I feel like adding another episode about the healthy cycle of healing and overcoming grief. And the wisdom of what I'm about to share is a rendering of energetic download that I've received years upon years ago, probably 20 years ago, from my masters from a shamanic lineage. And the way that I've translated and the way that I could see it in my heart eyes, in my vision, to what is the healthy way to heal from grief and deep sadness that comes from separation. By the way, this is just a little side note. I believe that every emotion is working in a circular way in our body and in our life. And in that specific case, grief, which is an extensive sadness, is coming from a sensation of lost for something that we had, or a feeling that we're about to lose something that we have. I take a moment to respect also that those who will be listening and those who will be sharing this specific podcast episode or highlighting or downloading it probably had to go through an extensive grief and sadness. And I want to acknowledge that for a moment. One of the things that I feel, it's been already a little bit over 30 days since my mother passed away. And one of the things that I strongly feel is such a deep level of respect for the people who are going through that experience. It's really, really a deep one. In the previous episodes, I highlighted and I shared that it's really similar to giving birth. And that is to remind us also how when a person is added into your life or a person is being removed from your life, when this weaving is happening at that scale, that demands a lot of reorganizing. A lot of moment to go deep, a lot of moment to grieve, a lot of moment to forgive and to find yourself anew. And this is the best way to start sharing about the healthy cycle of healing grief, of going through grief, let's say the healthy cycle of grief, and also how we heal and why do we need to heal? Because sometimes some people can be stuck in one stage of this cycle. So the first cycle, the first point, there are 4 points in this. The first point, the first station is when an experience happens, when there is a recognition that something lost, someone died, there's an end, there's a separation. Oh, it's the shock, the experience itself that many times moves immediately to the emotional body, immediately to the chest area, immediately to the heart. Now, every emotion, when it brings an epic, powerful quality into your life. When you are able to master sadness and grief, you're activating the lover inside of you. And if for a split of a moment you look at those qualities of sadness, there is softness in the body. The heart is open. There's high level of vulnerability. There's a requirement and need to intimacy, to attach, to softness. This is, the heart is open, and it is frequency that seems similar to love and intimacy. It's another version of it. It's not the open heart, happy heart, elated bliss heart of falling in love and rising in love and getting connected. But there's a lot of similarity. So this is to say that healing from grief and overcoming being dominated by sadness, mastering that frequency is a big gift to awaken the lover within you. And you can also see, by the way, how there are some people who, do you know this story when you're asking yourself, I was in a beautiful relationship and the person was so hard, but then we separated and immediately he met someone else and opened up. Of course, we can say so many reasons why those things are happening. However, take into consideration that one is that the heart was open and available, and even the walls around the heart were broken. So the heart was ripe, open, and available. And this moment, maybe you also have experienced or have seen other situations where people broke down, felt the loss, grieve over the parents or beloved person or someone. And then there was a moment where an intimate relationship started to be created in that presence. So it's, of course, it is in the presence of the lost, in the presence of death, that put everything in proportion. What I feel now is how much death is a sacred experience. Grief is a sacred experience. Death as honoring life. So in that context of death, there's a new proportion of what is happening. And there's also this experience of grief. The lucky one allow themselves to open their heart and move into softness. Some others not necessarily are able to really soften there, and it is dependent on what exists in their life in general. And then comes the second part. Now, the second stage of healthy cycle of grief is now the shock is taking over. Now the confusion is taking over. Sometimes even anger is taking over. Now, for each person, it will show up differently. Some people, the confusion is they would not know what to do, how to do, who they are, how to behave, where to go, how to operate. If it is a loss of a partner, if it is a loss of someone who's you're sharing life with, whether it is a business partner, life partner, someone that you are living in, sharing house or business with, then this confusion of who I am, what am I doing? What am I doing without this part of my life? What am I doing without this person? There can also be just the shock of how can life turn their back on me? How can that take my ground, take my love, take my future? How can God do something like that? How can this person will do something like that? And there's also an anger. For some people, there's a real big stage of anger. So it's not like how, because I'm in shock, but it's the how is more like, how have you done that thing to me? And the anger could be towards God, towards yourself, towards the community, towards life, towards the person who just passed, towards others, towards the siblings, towards those who stay alive, those who are still. And this is, I had a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine who highlighted something so beautiful. She said, I can understand why people are sometimes fighting over a heritage because they cannot render that storm of feelings. There could be also subtle feelings, not only confusion and sadness and anger, can be also subtle feelings like guilt, and shame. And I'm calling them subtle, not because they are not super dominant, but because they are a combination of other feelings and a mix of feelings and emotions. So the second stage is overall can be an overwhelming experience with mixed emotion and overtaking emotions. And sometimes I would even say a loss of identity. We take a deep breath, and it's really important to understand that this is an important piece of the puzzle. It's an important stage, this loss of identity. If you are so plugged, and I believe that some of the people who would hear, I believe that most of the people who are listening to my podcast are people who are already serving, already working as healers, as light activator, as a spiritual guide, mentors, life coaches, etc. But I believe that some of the people who would listen might experience a loss, and this is why you're now listening to this podcast. It's really important to recognize and to understand that, yes, in the 3D experience, you've lost someone. I've lost my mother in the 3D experience. However, at the level of the soul, that is the perfect timing where I am ripe enough to take full ownership on the mother that I am, the mother that I am in my family, the mother as I am to myself, my self-parenting, the mother that I am to my creation. I am in a place where I am ripe to move into a greater level of ownership of my talents, of my gifts, of what I'm here to bring into the world. And this is why I am going through that process. Yes, of course, there are questions about identity. All of those questions of identity were designed in a soul level to happen at that specific time, in that specific combination. And I can share with you, and this is how we move actually to the third. Maybe I share that with you on the fourth level. So the third level, thank you for the patient as I am just briefing all as I am here recording. Nothing is pre-designed, as you know, in my podcasts. So the third level usually is the level of the stage of isolation. Isolation, separation. Take a deep breath. This is where you go inward. You go inward to consider who you are, how you're going to rearrange your life. Who are you without that person? Who are you with the memory, with that gift that you've received from that person you have lost? Like you are going into, you're going to the corner of the room, to your womb, to your cave, to your depth, because there's this beautiful opening that happen, and there's a possibility to dive even deeper, deeper, deeper into places inside of you that usually you haven't reached. And most of the time, this place is a place of isolation, but it is actually the deepest, deepest place of healing. And it is a place that invites reconnection. As we can look at it, there are people, and this is why we need sometimes healing the cycle of grief, that in the first stage, which is the stage of the experience, will go into profound grief and will just be in that neediness and in that sadness and neediness to receive comfort, to receive support. Or people can stay on the second stage of, I am confused, I'm in anger, and they can stay in this stage for years. They can separate from their family, they can separate from their siblings, they can change place of life or profession, but it wouldn't be from evolving. It will be from rage, from revenge, from bitterness, from victimhood. They can get confused, can really feel lost, and they can stay in that place. And on the third stage is isolation. I don't want to speak. I don't want to connect. I don't want to expose. I don't want to celebrate. I don't want to experience life like that anymore, like really isolating me, myself, and I. And all of those three stages can have their medicine. The first stage is really being nourished. Nourished, nourished, nourished in your heart, nourished in your soul, nourished mentally, physically, receiving the beauty and love of life, of the divine. I have done such a powerful ritual on the 30 days of my mother passing, deep, deep ritual of saying goodbye to her, completely liberating her, allowing her to be who she is, regardless of the stories that we have, not holding the story in me anymore. And at the same time, allowing myself to be energetically nourished in such a deep and incredible way. And I'm so grateful for those who supported me. And so many, by the way, of my people in my community were sending so much love and flowers and beautiful things to be with me at that stage. So I'm so grateful. And then the healing of the second stage, this stage of shock and confusion and anger and so on. This is a place that is needing an empowerment. If the first stage wanted love and support, the second stage needs empowerment, power, real power, ownership, sovereignty, clarity, confrontation. It doesn't need to be with anger. It doesn't need to be with hard emotions. It can be really by looking at life in the most clear way and looking at yourself in the most clear and potent way. And then the third part, which is the part of isolation, I go to the corner of the room and lick my wounds. This is a place for vision activation. This is a place where, as you're diving deep within you and licking your wounds and crying and isolating, look at that cave, look at that womb as a place, as a portal of creation, because the next stage, the ultimate fourth stage, is reconnection. I'm tapping back to the world anew, where that version of who I was before the lost is upgraded, and I'm creating an intentional, on purpose upgrade. So this is a beautiful cycle, and it is an important cycle, and it is a non-linear cycle, although I explain it as a linear one. So that means that, yes, there will be some people who will just grow through that cycle. What is important to know about it is that this cycle can happen to some people really like one cycle in that order. And that cycle can take a year to complete. And it could be the same cycle, but it will take for some people 1 month in some relationship. It can also take a few months. We must understand that we're grieving all day long if we want to see that, because we're grieving the past as we move forward. So it's very much dependent on the personality, how long it will take, what will be the depth of the process. And for some people, it will be moving from stage 1 to stage 2 and back to stage 1 and then back to stage 2 and then a little bit stage 3, then stage 2, stage 1 again, etc., etc., etc. And as you go back and forth in this process, there will come a moment where you're going to start feeling and experiencing the reconnection, coming back anew, stage 4. And then stage 4 is going to appear more and more and more until it will be completely established. Stage 4 is a change of personality. It is an upgrade of personality. It's a change in identity. And this is the gift of grief. It's the gift, and I already can feel that for myself. I can already feel for myself the gifts that my mother ascension is gifting me. portals are opening inside of me. Aspects that I wanted to feel and to experience and to claim are showing up in the most beautiful way. So it is stage 4. It is a reconnection. It's a reconnection to yourself. It's a reconnection to your mission on earth. It's a reconnection to life and to what exists inside of your realm, in your business, in your relationship, what exists inside of your inner world and outer world. And it's also a reconnection to that which was lost. However, in a new dimension, a new aspect of the relationship is coming forth. And it will be different from everything that happened before, because both have changed radically. So thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for being present in your own growth, in your own awareness, and also as you're serving others in light. I really recommend to map this for yourself, to bring awareness to where you are if you're going through grief, or what are the qualities that you can bring to support those around you who are going through grief and transformation. And of course, to learn it for yourself so you can support and you can escort yourself as you are moving through challenges of separation and grief, to do that with greater awareness and to experience a greater opening of your heart and next level identity, next level awareness, next level presence. Thank you. Thank you for listening and being part of this great conversation. You will find all the relevant links in the show notes, as well as a link to a meditation for you to feel more connected to your spirit and aligned with your soul contract. Please, if this episode touched you, leave a review, like, and subscribe. Feel comfortable to share it with your friends, family, and colleagues, because everyone has a calling.